Okay, if this is your first time seeing a geometric sequence is a sequence of numbers that increase by, doubling or tripling, multiplying by some common ratio, we call it. Okay, so like r equals 2 for this sequence because it doubles every time. Or you could have something getting cut in half each time. I had to think about that for a second. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Yeah, okay, then cut in half again. R for this one we would say 1/2, okay? Because we think of it in terms of multiplying. 24 times 1/2 gives you 12, and 12 times 1/2 gives you 6. All right, and negative numbers are allowed for R too. So let's check out a problem here. We got to select all that apply for which ones are geometric sequences. So the way you can tell is if each number in the sequence between two numbers, they all share the same common ratio. Okay, that means the next term in the sequence divided by the previous term in the sequence gives you the same R. So like let's look at, I gotta get this out of the way, don't I? Let's look at this first one. To find the common ratio, you'd take the n plus 1 term, so let's just start from here. Negative 2 would be the n plus 1, and 3 would be the n term, okay? So it gives you negative 2/3 for R. But we got to check to make sure it holds true for all the terms in the sequence. So you got to check the next term. 4/3 it would be the n plus 1 term, and negative 2 would be the n term, okay? So if you simplify that, that's the same thing as 4/3 divided by negative 2, which would mean you flip and multiply. So it's going to give you negative 2/3 when you simplify that. So it's holding out, okay? And the last one, just to check, would be negative 8/9 divided by 4/3. And when you do that, you get negative 2/3. So they all have the same common ratio. Every pair of sequential numbers has the same ratio. Okay, so that one's geometric. Let's check the next one. To get from 8 to 16/3, well, we can find the common ratio by doing 16/3 divide by 8. Okay, that's the same thing as 16/3 times 1/8. So it gives you a 2 here. When you simplify, that gives you 2/3. Let's check R for the next pair of numbers. If you check 32/9 and 16/3, it's the next term divided by the term you're working on, 16/3. And when you flip and multiply, and simplify, this is 2, this is 1, that gives you 2/3. So unless, I'm getting kind of lazy here. You'd want to check 32/9 and 64/27, make sure that's the common ratio as well, but I think it's going to be. Yeah, times 2/3 times 2/3 times 2 over times 3. That one's going to check out. Okay, so let's check that middle term. The next term, the n plus 1, is negative 2. The first term is 8, so it gives you negative 1/4, okay? That's the common ratio. So if you do the next term, the n plus 1, and the n term, flip and multiply, that gives you negative 1/4 as well. The first ratio was negative 4, first r was negative 4, the next r is negative 4, and then the final one, if you take negative 1/8, divide by 1/2, and you simplify, that also gives you negative 4. Now this one, you could do 4 divided by 2 gives you 2. That's your R. Now 6 divided by 4 gives you, 3/2. That's a different R, so this is not geometric. Same thing for this one. 16 divided by 8 gives you 2. 18 divided by 16 does not give you 2, so that is not geometric. Okay, it might take some getting used to, but hang in there, okay? To find the first 4 terms, you could use a sub 1, but they use t sub 1. Okay, that just means the first term in the sequence is 2. And if r is 2, here, before I do that, this is the general form of a geometric sequence. Okay, that n minus 1 is in the superscript position. Okay, so if the first term is 2, and if r is 2, this would be the t sub n formula for this geometric sequence. So to find the first 4 terms, you do n equals 1, so t sub 1 would be 2, just like it's supposed to be. T sub 2 would be plug 2 in for n. 2 minus 1 makes 1. 2 to the first is 1. 2 times 2 makes 4. Plug in 3 for n. 3 minus 1 makes 2. 2 to the second is 4. 4 times 2 makes 8. And then t sub 4, that's 16. Okay, 2 times 2. It's multiplying by 2 each time, right? 2, 4, 8, 16. 2, 4, 8, 16. That's our guy. Let's see what else we got. All right, this one wants you. We haven't done this one yet. Probably stop the video after this. So to find out, they want it for t. T sub n. Here's the formula again. It's t sub 1 times r to the n minus 1 power. Okay. So we got to find out what r is, and the common ratio is just going to be the next term. You know, pick any starting point. The next term divide by that starting point term. That's your r. Okay. So I'm going to keep it nice and easy. I'm going to start here. The next term is 2 over 3. And if you divide that by the term that I chose to start on, that's the same thing as 2 over 3 times 1/2, right? So that gives me 1/3 for my r. So in t sub n, my t sub 1, my starting term is 2. My r, the common ratio I just found, is 1/3, and it's to the n minus 1 power. So that's the option we want to select. 2/3, 1/3. All right. I think that's all the types of problems you're going to see. Same type of thing with this one. This one you just got to plug straight into the formula.